What's up, you guys? Welcome back to Cryptographics. Today, I've got a banger for you. About 6 ways Pulse Chain can make you 10,000x. So without further ado, let's get right into it. The greatest opportunity of our lives? Maybe. Pulse Chain. So what is Pulse Chain? If you don't already know, if you've been sleeping under a rock, if you're just now coming across this, for one, welcome. For two, what is it? Pulse Chain is a soon-to-be released fork of Ethereum. So a fork is a branch off of the network from a certain block height while using the underlying code from Ethereum. So imagine like this. Ethereum is making a block, solidifying the transactions, and then another block happens, another block happens, another block happens, another block happens. At one of those blocks, Pulse Chain is going to go and start a new direction with Pulse Chain with code that's based off of Ethereum, but is different, which we'll get into, which separates it and starts from there. So it's essentially like a system state copy. Like it's like, we're going to go and do our own thing, right? So the code's been improved to make the speed of block processing up to 4 times faster than Ethereum. It has made gas fees less than a penny per transaction. It is much more eco-friendly and is giving the world's largest airdrop to users of Ethereum. We're going to get into that later for sure. Essentially, it is improving Ethereum in some ways that ETH 2.0 is trying to accomplish, while most likely beating ETH 2.0 to the market by a great deal of time. Now, this is speculative because ETH 2.0 hasn't come out yet. Pulse Chain hasn't come out yet. But it sounds like Pulse Chain is going to come out a lot sooner than ETH 2.0. So that's why I'm saying that statement right there. So without further ado, though, let's get into why Pulse Chain has the most potential to make you $1 million. So reason number one, the world's largest airdrop. Let's use this analogy here. Imagine that Ethereum is a mall, and this mall is huge and sells all sorts of products. Unfortunately, though, the mall has a fee to buy anything, and the fees have risen so much to such a level that for many people, they can't justify spending $100 on fees to buy a $50 item. For people that want to return items to the mall, they still have to pay the fee and cannot return their items for their money back. Think of this like people that want to buy a token, right? They want to buy a token, but it costs $100 to buy $50 in the token, or they want to sell their tokens, but it costs them $100 to sell $50 worth of tokens. It doesn't make sense, right? So Pulse Chain is taking the plans for that mall, which I'm going to back up a little bit here as well and say this mall is also the biggest mall in all of crypto. It has the most value locked. It has the most projects. It has the most diversity in the ecosystem. It's huge, right? There's just so many people that have used this mall in the past. So Pulse Chain is taking the plans for that mall and it's building a version right next to it, right next to the Ethereum mall with all the same stores, products, and you can even walk from Ethereum to the Pulse Chain mall. They're connected, but there will be a way for them to be connected, which I'll get into. We can call it a bridge. We'll call it, they'll be connected through a bridge, but think of it like there's a hallway that you can go to connect the two of them together. They're even giving anyone, so now the Pulse Chain mall is giving anyone who owns something from the Ethereum mall, like a t-shirt or a token or whatever, however you want to visualize it, the exact copy and amount of them they own, but from the Pulse Chain mall. So if you own a t-shirt that says Shiba on it from the Ethereum mall, and when the Pulse Chain mall goes up, you're going to get in the mail, which right to wallet, a Pulse Chain version from that mall of the Pulse Chain mall's version of the same t-shirt, right? They're just going to give it to you. It's in the plans that they have, that they're implementing for when it launches. That's what's going to happen. So if you have 10 Shiba t-shirts, the Pulse Chain is giving you 10 Shiba t-shirts. So think of it like this. If you own SHIB on Ethereum, you're going to get P-SHIB or Pulse SHIB absolutely for free on the Pulse Chain or from the Pulse Mall, right? So you can even bring things from the Ethereum Mall to the Pulse Chain Mall and vice versa, but you have to place the goods from Ethereum Mall in a special labeled bag so the mall knows where it came from. We call this wrapping. So continuing on, what does this mean for users? This means that anyone who holds any ERC20 token from Ethereum, either fungible or non-fungible, will receive a copy of it on the Pulse chain. I'm not going to blow by that. Like, I'm not going to explain it. So a non-fungible token is like art. It's a one-of-a-kind piece that lives on the blockchain that, like, if you've seen those, the monkey pictures, right, the Bored Apes or anything at all, those one-of-a-kind pieces are non-fungible. Fungibility is the replicability of a token, right? So let's say in either like Bitcoin is fungible. There's more than one Bitcoin. Hex is fungible. Pulse chain will be fungible. Tokens are fungible, but non-fungible tokens like art or anything that is a unique token that has no duplicate on the network, even those, the NFTs and tokens will all be copied over at a 1-to-1 ratio. So if you have 10 dog coins and one monkey picture on Ethereum, you will get 10 dog coins and one monkey picture on the Pulse chain network. Like, they're going to have no value at first. Their price is going to be at zero until some sort of dollar figure is brought in through that little bridge in the mall that we talked about. But it will have value when that comes over. And I think it's also for tax purposes too. But I'm not going to get into that. Not qualified. So let's keep going. But because of this bridging system being built, users will have both sides of the bridge the moment the Pulse chain launches. So price could rise very quickly, even potentially reaching parity very fast. We're all speaking. This is all speculation, all just possibilities, but still, it's exciting at the least, and it's important to realize for sure. So, and due to Hart's law, which means the price of assets are directly correlated to the price of their liquidity pool trading pairs, it is likely that the prices of the pairs will be similar and could even help boost price on the other side if the price goes up. It could also drag it down as well. So in a nutshell, without going too deep on this, the liquidity pool, basically the place where you can grab your tokens. Like, let's say if you want to go buy Hex, you buy Hex with USDC. There's a pool where there's a pile of USDC and a pile of Hex that are linked. And as the one side gets added to, it's essentially changing the ratio. So there's less USDC compared to the Hex now. So the USDC, well, because it's pegged, it won't go down, but essentially it's going to lower the price of Hex, right? So now if you have something that isn't pegged, like you've got, let's say Hex and Pulse chain, right? Because they're not the same asset, or let's go with Hex and Ethereum, right? As Ethereum's price goes down, right, because they're paired together, and because that affects the way I'm just going to cut this out. Due to Hart's law, basically all you have to think about this. So all I want you to think about here is that the price, if you ever wondered why the price moves with everything else when Bitcoin goes down and when everything else goes up when Bitcoin goes up, is because things that are in a liquidity pool together, put simply, when they move up in price, they drag everything up with it and drag everything down with it. Not exactly like in concert with one another, but it still affects each coin that's in a pool. So that's why you see that. So that's what I'm trying to say there. So let's continue though. To summarize, the airdrop is at a minimum doubling the amount of coins you own on two networks, but you're going to get this whatever amount of coins you own on Ethereum, you're going to get doubled onto Pulse chain. So as a potential, you could double the actual dollar figure you've invested once money's bridged over to the network. And worst case, you still just will get free money, because when that money is bridged over, there will be a value attached to it. And depending on the demand for Pulse chain, we don't know what the price is going to do. I mean, we could add a dash of hopium to the whole thing and say like, kind of, we're going to want to go to the moon. But I mean, I think it's just safe to say like parity is a nice dollar figure to aim for. And anything better than that's just a bonus. So much cheaper fees, much faster transaction speed, and is eco-friendly. So that's like the Pulse chain kind of 101 there with the airdrop. So let's keep going. What else we got? Number 2. Don't know what's happening with my hands here. Number 2, Pulse.io. If you haven't heard of this, these guys are amazing. So what Free Pulse is a website that's literally giving away free Pulse tokens. So PLS, that's the native Pulse chain token that you'll be needing to transact on the network. They're giving it away every hour of the day for anyone that visits the website. Now, this isn't just like an hourly thing where it's only open, but it opens for you once you click You basically, you roll a set of numbers, and whatever number you get based on that, you get between 1 and 155,400 pulse every single hour. The chances of that are really low, but essentially you do that, and then there's a timer that goes off internally that's attached to your wallet that allows you to come back in an hour. So you can claim up to $200 of free pulse every hour, 24 times per day if you don't sleep. I don't recommend it, but I mean, you could if you wanted to. So at a minimum, you can win 1 pulse, like I said, and at a maximum, you can win up to 155,400 pulse every single hour. These guys are giving this away for free, like for free. So if you did this every single day for, let's say, I don't know, let's even say you did it 8 times a day. I mean, if one of those over the course of a year, no, let's do 10 a day. So you get 10 per day, so you get 310 per month. Let's say one of those every 3 months, you get 155,000. So you're going to get, I mean, you can gamble if you want on this site too. There's just so much potential to be had with this. I mean, maybe you win it twice. I don't know. Either way, you still will never have, even though I'm talking about this point's not even that important. What's important about this is that for people who are worried about not being able to get PulseChain when it goes live, this is your way. Now you don't have to worry about not having PulseChain when the network goes live, because you just click a little button, you withdraw it, even if it's 1, because the denominations of PulseChain that it takes actually transact on the network are so small that you don't need much. So 1 pulse can last you a long, long time. So we don't have to worry about that anymore. That's really why this is so special. If you happen to win the jackpot like 10 times, I mean, okay, of course you're going to be killing it, but like that's probably unlikely. So the thing is though, that's not where they stop. They just keep going. And this is just a tweet that was alluded to by them. It hasn't become fully implemented yet, but check this out. It says, we acquired the domains freehex.io and freepulsex.io just in case. Maybe PLS won't be the only crypto we'll give away in the future. Imagine you could choose between every PRC20 you want every single hour. That's like 1% of our internal roadmap. Like, guys, girls, everybody, like, if you're reading that and you're not like, what? Yeah, I don't think you get it. Like, they're giving away Pulse to start, and they may give Hex, they may give Pulse X away, and they may give other PRC20s away for free that you could claim every single hour. That's just mind-boggling that you're going to be able to do that. So, and how we know these guys are legit, for one, it's the right FreePulse.io Twitter page, and these guys are OG Hex's community members, which have been around. They're well trusted in the community, and they're doing an amazing thing. So get excited about free pulse. And let's talk about number 3. So HEDRON, I talked about this a few videos back. It was just released about 2 weeks ago. I think could be a little bit more, a little bit less. But essentially what HEDRON does is it allows Hex users to tokenize their stakes. This is an NFT. Okay. It allows users to tokenize their stakes and move the stake around if they choose. So essentially what it's doing is it's taking a stake that is normally locked into the Hex contract and it's just like in there, and you can see it on go.hex.com. But what it's doing is it's basically wrapping it in a HEDRON instance, and it is allowing you to do things with it. So normally, like I said, normally a stake is locked in on one wallet, just one, and must be completed or ended before anything can happen with the Hex. So if you tokenize your stake, you can actually have the option to borrow HEDRON as well. But we're not going to talk about that today. Another video. I'm still understanding that part of it and what the ramifications are, game theory, blah, 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 blah. So think of it this way. Now the stake itself can be bought, sold, or sent to another wallet or by another wallet. So someone could buy your stake. You could sell your stake, or someone could sell theirs to you, or you can move stakes around. You could gift people stakes. You could give like birthday gifts of like, I don't know, however many Hex you want to give us as a stake for however long. You could give them to your niece and nephews, your families, whatever. So it's a really cool thing they're doing. And regardless of whether or not you stake in HEDRON, any staker, whether just regular or HEDRON instance, are given HEDRON every single day for the life of the stake. This is huge. So this is why this is the reason we're talking about this today. So currently stakes can claim an 8x, which is actually a 9x bonus for the life of the stake. This means if you have one T share, which is 1 trillion shares staked, which today is worth 21,090 something hex. I think it was like 93 as of 2 days ago, 3 days ago. If you have one T share, a trillion shares, you have 1,000 B shares, right? So you would be getting 1,000 HEDRON per day. Now, if you get that 8x bonus, which is actually 9x, you'd be getting 9,000 HEDRON every single day for the life of the stake. Think about that for a second. So it's free money you got just for owning your stake and just staking it normally. But wait, there's more. Whatever HEDRON you mint or will be able to mint from your stake will be copied over to the Pulse chain. You're going to get double the free money you already got from having your hex stake when the Pulse chain goes live. You get a copy of your HEDRON on the Pulse chain as well, which was free for a lot of people. So we got the airdrop, freepulse.io. We've got HEDRON, all for free. But wait, there's more. Number 4, PulseX, the decentralized exchange. PulseX is the name of the decentralized exchange that's going to live on the Pulse chain network. It will be the most liquid exchange, have the most coins in it of all the exchanges. And I'm not going to talk about why that is the case today, maybe in a future video. But it will also have the cheapest fees. It also has a 2-token system that will be implemented, which will have the PulseX token, which is PLSX, for DAO voting, and an incentive token. So far, I saw in a picture, this is why I'm using this. I saw in a picture that Richard Hart released that showed it being called XPLSX. I don't know if that's the official name or not, but I saw that there. So I'm going to leave that as what we're going to refer to the incentive token as. And this incentive token is a reward for providing liquidity to the exchange. When you place your coins in this decentralized exchange, because that's how these exchanges function, you get the XPLSX token in return. So PLSX has a cap supply that is supposed to be deflationary. Like you can't buy any more, like there's no more PLSX on the market once PLSX goes live. It's always going down. So part of every transaction, I think it's around 21%, is bought and potentially burned from the supply. The reason I say potentially, because in the original description for why, or the original release of what Pulse Chain or PulseX was going to do, was there was going to be a buy and burn function automated into the code, but it later came out that the automation couldn't happen. So now it kind of changes things. And Richard's language has still been that buy and burn is still going to happen. He hasn't swung away from that. But I don't know exactly how that's going to happen yet. I'll leave that for a future video just because I want to be sure of what I say here. So when I say potentially burn from the supply, that's why. So again, yeah, it'll be potentially burn from the supply, which is essentially creating buy pressure on the PLSX price with every transaction. So how it works, just so you understand what that is, the transaction goes through, the mechanism goes and buys PLSX. So that's creating upward pressure on the price. And then it goes, and if this potentially burned mechanism happens, however it happens, it will be placing upward buy pressure on it and then removing it, which in theory should put a little bit more. And though these are very small amounts, the amount of transactions that should happen on this exchange are massive and should see massive buy pressure. If you want to see exact values on like what the potentials could be in comparison to like Uniswap or SushiSwap on Ethereum, go check out K4K Crypto. He's laid this out far better than I'll be able to. And I'm just trying to keep things simple for you guys here today. So if you want to go a little bit further down the advanced side of this whole thing, go see K4K Crypto. But let's continue. XPLSX is inflationary in comparison to PLSX and will constantly be rewarded for the LP. So there's an ever-growing supply of that. So it's not going to work the same. I don't know what price is going to do there, but essentially you're going to get rewarded if you provide liquidity, which you can actually stake, I believe, your PulseX as well to earn XPLSX with your PulseX. So you're earning money on it's just crazy stuff. And another note to why this is so big is that over $1 billion has been sacrificed for PulseX, which I couldn't figure out. I'm pretty sure it's the largest, but it seems like it's the largest amount ever in crypto that's been raised for anything. So, and I can't remember how many wallets. There's just an unbelievable amount of wallets as well. So the amount of people that are interested in this, the amount of money that's been given, the amount of people that believe in this is insane for something that's starting out. It's like almost twice the amount that even PulseChain got sacrificed for. Now that was different. This is, I think there's a couple factors here are that PulseX was found out by many more people than the PulseChain sacrifice. I think if people understood the PulseChain sacrifice like we do now, I think we would see completely different numbers. But still, that's why we're seeing this. So there will potentially even be a way for users to stake. I actually mentioned this. Sorry, yeah. So one more thing on the PulseChain front. Lots of people may switch over their PulseX for Pulse or try and switch exchange them. So there may be actually an opportunity to buy PulseX once the market is made by all the bots and all this good stuff. But it's just a crazy situation. So PulseX is going to be nuts potentially price wise. So that's our number 4. So let's see what number 5 has got in store for us. It's Hex. So while Hex is currently down in price, it still prints Hex while you're staked. So whether you've been staked for 30 days or since day 1, or you have a 15-year stake, all the Hex that you've been generating in yield, so meaning if you've been staked for 2 years at this point and you still have, let's say, 10 years to go or 8 years to go, all of the interest that you've generated up to that point will be copied over to the Pulse chain with your whole stake. So you're basically not only doubling up on your principal, but you're doubling up on the rewards you've already earned as well. So, and if you want a full explanation of what Hex is, my last video just talked about Hex and the importance of the T-share. I highly recommend checking that out. If I can put a link in here, and I know I said this last video too, I will, I'll put a link to that Hex video. If not, it's because I couldn't figure it out. So apologies in advance if I can't. Let's keep going here. So Hex is already proven to be a foundation that can be built on, like with HEDRON. Like it's a core element, if you will, that things can utilize to build projects on. And oh, hold on, that's the wrong one. Where are we going here? Where am I going? HEDRON definitely has set the precedent that layers can be built on top of Hex. And if this is the first time, this is the first time that anyone's done it, but that doesn't mean that the second time or the third time can't come as well. And this could all come to reward Hex stakers or just Hex holders in general. More probably the Hex stakers, because that's how it worked for HEDRON. But the question is then, will they be built on both chains? Just on Pulse chain? Just on Ethereum? Will one come out soon that we aren't expecting? And it'll get copied over to the Pulse chain as well? Like, what is going to happen here? Will people be airdropped just for having Hex? I don't know. There's all sorts of things that can be speculated on when it comes to Hex, but it's all important because everything that happens there is going to get copied over to the Pulse chain network and potentially just be free money. Like, it's as simple as it is. So rewards to come from having your Hex staked and copied for free could add up to massive amounts over time, or very quickly, just depending on how this whole ecosystem plays out. So Hex is a big player. And also the Hex price right now, like I said in the very beginning of the Hex slide, it's at a low right now. It's like around 10 or 11 cents. I think it's 11.5 actually at the moment. And don't know it's the bottom. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But Hex is way down its all-time high. And eventually, I personally believe, because of what it is, because of how much research I've done into it, I do believe that Hex will do at least a lot better than where it is right now. But so Hex, in that sense alone, is such a major player because you're getting double the copies of Hex, right? You're getting whatever you have copied over, including the interest that you've been rewarded as well, plus the potential for things to be built onto it on both chains or one chain or the other, right? So it's a huge play as well. But let's move on to number 6, which is the PLS coin, the Pulse Chain coin itself. So when Pulse Chain goes live, there may be an opportunity to buy some PLS before it's all scooped up. Because like I said, the sacrifice phase was the only chance to actually buy it. There will be no more PLS on the market after the set amount is out there. There may be an opportunity to buy some Pulse Chain because of how the liquidity has to be generated for these big liquidity pools in comparison to ETH. But let's keep going on though. So PLS is deflationary, like PulseX, with 25% of every gas fee getting burnt from supply permanently. It is a small amount. Like it's very, very, very small. The gas, I think it was like 5 or 6 zeros in front of the one that I was seeing on the test PLS net, but still 25% over time. It's added by pressure. So it's just going to help the price go up a little easier. And eventually it might make a big difference. But either way, deflationary in this sense looks like it should be a good thing. Now, like we talked about with PulseX, there's a sacrifice phase, and I think it was 660 million actually was sacrificed for PulseChain, which is a huge amount. It's a massive, massive amount. And most of those people now want to get into PulseChain. So there's going to be a massive demand for PLS once everything goes live. And if you can get your hands on some through either freepulse.io or through the initial startup, and maybe like when everything goes live, you can switch coins around, you get yourself whatever size bag you want. It should do some price movement off the get-go. So like I said, no more PLS will ever be created. You can only get PLS by someone selling it to you if things go like we're talking about, where there's no extra supply anywhere. You're going to have to wait till someone sells it to a pool, or someone like you can actually like market buy it from somebody potentially. And if we compare the PLS coin to what Ethereum did in its first few years, Ethereum did around a 14,000x from its launch price. And I'm not trying to instill like, holy crap, it's going to go 14,000x for sure. We don't know. And it's important to realize, to see what other things have done. I mean, like what PLS has going for it is when Ethereum launched, it was a lot more of an empty chain than what it is now. So if we compare launch phases, like it's like, imagine if Ethereum launched again for the first time right now with everything already on it, how would it do? And if it was even cheaper to transact on, you know, like could price do more? Could it do less? Like what really are the probable outcomes of the whole situation? And hard to say. I think it will perform quite well. But 14,000x is something we would love to see, but we don't want to get too excited because we really don't know how things are going to play out. So, like I said, yeah, it's just going to have to wait and see for the coming years, months, and weeks after it launches, and just like see how it plays out, because maybe it'll do more, maybe it'll do way less. We'll have to wait. We have to wait and find out. But guys, that's my 6. So again, we've got the airdrop, we have free pulse, we have HEDRON, we have Hex, and we have the PLS token itself. Those are 6 massive ways where you could potentially make a huge amount of money when PulseChain goes live, from either the airdrop itself or things being built or what Richard Hart has been building. So let's just talk about a little quick PulseChain update here before we go. And currently, testnet for the PulseChain is on version 2. However, Richard Hart has stated in the next couple of days, as of I think it was yesterday, that version 2B will be launched with a working PulseX exchange and like 90-something% accurate sacrifice balances. So that's huge. That means progress is being made. That's not saying that PulseChain is coming out in a month. That's just saying that we're a little bit closer. So if you want updates, just go and follow him at Richard Hartwin on Twitter for updates. Again, there's no official release. So please, if you see anything labeled PLS or PLSX or PulseChain or anything on any exchange or any place you can buy it, it's not real. It's a scam. Don't buy it. You're going to lose your money. So in summary, guys, actually, we've already gone over this. Actually, yeah, let's just summarize one more time here. So world's largest airdrop with a 1-to-1 copy of all coins from Ethereum onto PulseChain. 2, we have free money from HEDRON being copied over, plus future mintable HEDRON and borrowable HEDRON that will be also copied over. 3, we have free PS tokens from freepulse.io, as well as potentially free Hex and free PLSX, as well as other PRC20 tokens coming. 4, we have a brand new exchange coming with the PLSX token that is deflationary. 5, we have Hex stakes will get copied over or liquid Hex, and so will the rewards you haven't earned so far. Hex may continue to be built on in the future to get more free money. And again, we have also PLS and the performance of the Pulse token itself. So guys, thank you so much for checking out this video. I'm not sure if it's long. It's about 30 minutes. We're doing good here. So thanks so much for checking out the video. I hope you learned something from it. If you have anything you'd like to add to the situation, please drop me a comment. You can even tweet, go on Twitter and tweet me at cryptographics, just like the ticker here you see on the screen, which is over here. And also please check out cryptographics.com. I'm gonna have a blog up on this one as well. And yeah, thank you guys so much. Please smash the like button, subscribe, and I will definitely talk to you guys soon. Have a great day. Peace.